Alright, what's up everyone? It's time for another weekly outlook. Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you are. But let's get this thing on the road because it's already time for me to get to bed. When you're on the west coast, you got market open so early. So last week, what did we see? Let's do a brief rundown. So we ended up accepting out of this main distribution. As you can see, low of the week formed there. And we finally, let me exclude last week's price action so you can see the compare and contrast of what I'm saying. You can see how narrow and dull it looked up here. There was no real acceptance above here, just this short-term bounce. And this week was the first week we actually finally built some value up here, some like a reference point essentially. So that was good to see. If this fucking volume profile wants to cooperate, it doesn't. Alright, we're gonna have to redraw that. Alright, but now you can see we finally built some definition up here. Yeah, we finally have a little bit of a distribution up here. But the interesting thing is, if you zoom in a little bit, my orange zones are my inflection points, blue and black boxes are like my balance areas that I look at. But you would think that the rotation was from here, here, and vice versa. But to me, it doesn't seem like that. We started rounding out here, right? And it looks like the broader market swings have been from the top of this distribution to the bottom. As you can see, most of the swings have been from top and bottom here. So coming into Sunday, it's going to be very interesting to me. I was talking about this in my pod. Interesting to me what we do at 70.64. Are we going to fill this in? If so, my primary inflection points this week is going to be this area here, top of this big balance area. Right? Is it? Yeah. Yeah. Top of this this 40 point, or fuck, bottom of this big balance area here, or top of the big balance area here, and now the bottom of the short term 60 point rotation zone we've seen. So if we end up accepting below and getting a downtrend in comparison to last week's price action, then we could visit 69.06 and 890s again. As you can see, this is where we've been rounding out majority of the time, excluding this chop consolidation. But yeah, primarily you want to be seeing what we're going to do here, up against 7,000s again, and high of the week, up into here. We haven't really built any acceptance out above 7,000. So for all-time highs to continue, I would want to see more value being built instead of just clear rejections of just offer. If we overlay these on my TPO, you can see this is the TPO here, and then this is all the time periods within it. And you can see how it just like perfectly looks like support and resistance. So now here, I want to see, are we going to be doing these quick rejections like we did all throughout the past in December? Or we're going to get this like we did on Thursday, Friday price action where we're whipping within here. So I want to see the precedence it wants to set here. And if this is going to become the middle of the distribution, or it's going to remain as two distributions. And you can see this one I have marked out here. It's kind of looks like a shitty zone because it's within the toothiness of the profile. But if you look here, it's like lows, highs, gets chopped, knifes, and lows, knifes. So I think it can become a new inflection zone. I'm very wary here. I want to see more of a good setup form. Like I need a lot more for me to get my conviction meter going higher. But you know, this zone still remains 7,005, 7,009. I took shorts on Wednesday from this zone actually. It was actually 7,004, but now we've built the taper into 7,005. So you're gonna have one distribution here, one distribution here. Determine what the action is here. Is it this or is it this? If it's any of this zone can stay and I'll use it to trade each balance. But if we get this, I might primarily just want to go like this. Do not want to be taking a trade off here. I'll most likely get chopped. As you know, what we did on Thursday, it was just chopping like 55 to 65. It was very gross. So yeah, trying to be a little bit more picky in what I'm taking. You can see if that does end up transpiring that this gets chopped out, we have this bigger balance overall that I'm saying from 7,000 down to 40s. 40s is going to be that pivot as I talked about last week in the last weekly outlook. It was this very obvious pivot. So that will remain below here. Look to traverse this distribution down into this bid zone. You can see we have a quarterly POC down here actually, which is interesting. You know, you have this balance zone that got chopped, and then we end up finding support and then chop through it, knives, resistance. So I think it can act as a good zone. You'll see when we go down to lower time aggregations, but then this would be the most extremely extreme. It's the bottom of this, I don't know how long this balance was, and then it just holds out for a long time. So these are going to be my two primary inflection points. Going down to a monthly TPO, you can see more of what I'm saying. You can see that time and volume drop off into that zone. On the quarterly TPO, looks more like it's been filled in, but not on the monthly TPO. So that's going to be interesting. Like, does it just want to fill this in quickly, or does it actually want to reject off? So yeah, be looking at these two areas, and then the round off into this higher time frame shelf and the lower monthly shelf, as you can see. And the reason it kind of looks ugly right here, what's within the distribution, is because right here we ended up chopping out right here. So you can really extend this zone, and maybe the better zone is right here. So yeah, we'll move that. But once we start getting back below here, like 66 isn't holding, like we're not forming good excess into 66s. I do think we can start getting another rotation lower. We do have this big predominant bounce from 10s to 55s, but you know, I don't think that's going to happen this week. So is it really relevant to talk about? Not really. But yeah, I think there's not much to it in this outlook. You know, I don't want to keep rambling on about things that don't really matter, but let's see what last week. I wish you guys could hear my music that I'm listening to right now. This shit's gas, but alright. Yeah, it does look like a double distribution for now. But you can see the bigger swings. Oh wait, yeah, the bigger swings are coming from here. And now we're knifing lower. And you can see we're already building some value down into it, forming some excess. But if it ends up rounding this profile and excessing into here, well, I think this area loses relevance. And then probably be light on the week if this isn't working, you know? Because then I would only have three zones to go off. 1 and 2, and then 3. And below that, I don't think we could get that swing short I've been waiting to put on. Down into 68, 72s. But who knows? Who knows? Because then this is going to be another thing where we have to fill this entire structure in. Then you'll start rejecting off 25, you'll reject off 13, you'll reject off 99, and we'll think it's these great levels, but it's just nuance from the TPO. When you can see it's just going to have to fill in this. So yeah, I think that's the general weekly outlook. We can do a quick little recap in drawing. So it's Weekly line in the sand to the upside this week, it's probably going to be up here. But it's going to be interesting. I want to see this get built out before that. So seeing more definition. We'll see if that ends up happening. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Weekly outlook number 2 for 2026. Hope you guys have a good trading weekend. Yeah, bye.